Hello, everyone. Welcome to join this webinar session. No matter where you are, I hope you're having a nice day or a nice evening. So today's session is about working in Hong Kong, a realistic cultural and career readiness guide. And I'm your host today. My name is Erwin. I'm from Hong Kong and I'm an organizational psychologist and career consultant from Expivotal Consultancy. So for today's session, we have around 30 minutes to talk about, first about the cultural guide in Hong Kong. And the second half is about how we are going to, prepare you to come to Hong Kong, or maybe you have some other questions so that you want to ask us at the end of this session in order to help you to get prepared or equip yourself psychologically how to get here in a more confident way. Okay, so let's, hi everyone. I saw everyone's just showing me your greetings. So let me, okay, so yeah, hi everyone. So I've introduced myself already. Yeah, please feel free to say hi or give me your name in your chat room so that we can have a more interactive session in this 30 minutes, okay? So for the first half of our session today, let's go through, people have this kind of, question in your mind before you join this or even sign up for this webinar. So is Hong Kong the right fit for you? So why not other places, or why not other countries or cities, but why Hong Kong is the right fit for you? So if you just join us today or right now, here are some 4 questions or 4 different statements for you to go through. So if you have received an offer in Hong Kong or actually just actively exploring roles in Hong Kong, so maybe this is something that you can pay attention to in the next 30 minutes, or maybe purely you just have this kind of generosity or curiosity in, is Hong Kong the right fit for me? Or maybe some of you as, practically considering different countries or cities. So you may have to, get to know more about whether this is the right place for you to start your next chapter of your career. Or maybe somehow some people are from, different countries, different area of the world. So you want to learn more about the culture of working in Hong Kong. And last but not least, you just simply want to understand the cultural part. So why does it, why things work the way they do? But no, we are not going to simply give you a list of do's and don'ts, because simply, obviously, you can learn a lot of different, factual things from AI or Google nowadays, right? So let's get into a more deep or even some more personal sharing from my point of view, all right? And most importantly, the way that I share or I shape this content to share this content with you today is because we understand that to understand a workplace culture in a particular place is a very strong predictor in helping one person to successfully adjust themselves in the workplace. So in other words, that means by understanding more or deeper in one place culture, it helps you facilitate your adaptation or even your adjustment at the place in a more fast way or in a more efficient way. So be prepared, or we're going to get started for this journey today. So to begin with, how about we have a very short exercise with everyone. So maybe while we are loading the screen, let's check on, maybe you get prepared for your phone first, because I need you to scan a QR code on the screen on the right-hand side. Let me get to know more about you first. Can you please scan the QR code on the screen? If you don't have a phone with you, you can still type on the laptop, nancy.com, and then, type the 8-digit code on it. So we got a lot of people from all around the world. So let's surprise me. All right, we got someone from the UK, France, the Netherlands, Singapore, wow, Australia, India, wow. Okay, so I put a sharp cut here. We got Morocco, China, anyway, so I can see from all over the world, literally, right? From different continents, different regions. So, all right, so this is a warm-up exercise for me and for you to get ready. How about we move to the next one? We got another question prepared for you. So let's move on to the next page, which is, yeah, in time below. And I think if you are on the same link, you will see the, you will see the question shown on the screen already, whether it's on your phone or on your laptop or tablet. So which is your biggest concern about working in Hong Kong? So maybe you have some questions beforehand you joined this webinar today. So is it the language? Is it about cultural fit? Or even you are concerned with the networking, relationships, or even your personal struggles or personal challenge. All right, so I can see we're still waiting for some more response, but I can see for now, we can see some of you have, I think most of you have rated about the language barrier. So I will tell you more about, does it really matter to speak the language we speak? So in case you don't know, we mainly speak in Cantonese in Hong Kong. And in some certain cases or some environments, we will also speak in Mandarin. And of course, I'll tell you later, English is also one of our major and also an official language in Hong Kong also. So in case you wonder about the language requirements, I think English is a good basic requirement in working in Hong Kong. And for the rest, we'll talk more about the language requirement, including Cantonese and Mandarin later on. And for other choices, for other options, people struggling about between family and their work life, and also some of you wonder about the cultural fit or even the relationships and networking, the network building here in Hong Kong, especially when we're talking about the workplace, right, career-wise. Okay, so thank you for your response in this, warm-up exercise, ice-breaking exercise for us today. So let's move to the core content that I prepared for you today. Okay, so for those of you who haven't been to Hong Kong, or maybe you haven't, have a deep research on where we are or what we are. So here's a very quick one page for you to have a quick understand in Hong Kong. So maybe some of you have heard about, maybe you are, reading some articles, even watching some movies, having some online YouTube videos. So you may know that Hong Kong, we are kind of, I call this the word a hybrid, because it's where the East meets West, or even the other way around, West meets East, because, we got different British culture before, and then of course we are in also an international hub, international city, so we got a lot of different non-local professionals, around 9 to 10% of expatriates, or even we got some international professionals working in Hong Kong, mainly in the professions or industries I've shared with you: finance, educational, non-government organizations, technology, and even creative sectors. But rest assured, if you are not belonging to these kinds of industries, of course we got other industries that we can, you can find the right fit, or you can find your potential in Hong Kong, as long as you see, how I'm going to equip you or prepare you for the rest of the webinar today. And as I mentioned, if you are concerned about the language barrier, I can tell you that English is actually an official language, not only in the government or in the city itself, but in professional settings. That means in our communication, like in our workplace, daily communications, actually we use a lot of English. Even like in my company, in other companies, our communications in emails, our proposals, our documents are mainly in English, of course. And of course, if you are wondering, oh, what else could make me a better candidate, or even you need more, even more than English, you may need Cantonese and also or Mandarin. The reason behind the language requirement is because sometimes when you are applying for some client-facing role, or maybe you are in a service industry, you may also encounter some people who can only speak in Cantonese or in Mandarin. So to some certain companies, they will treat Cantonese or Mandarin as a secondary or an additional language. But English, I would say, is like a more universal language. But obviously, I will know that some companies would require Cantonese or Mandarin as the basic requirements. But to let you feel less stress, I think of course you need time to pick up a language anyway. But if you speak English already, it's a good sign for you to get prepared in working in Hong Kong. So I have a quick understanding because I'm also checking the chat room here. I don't want to leave all the questions at the end of our session today. So if I miss your question, I will go back to you if we have time in the end of the webinar. But I see some quick a quick question. I can give you a quick answer. People ask, is Mandarin transferable or similar to Cantonese? Well, first of all, I'm not a linguist or like a professional in language, but I can tell you, in general, people would think that in a learning way, Mandarin is relatively easier to pick up than Cantonese. So if you are really interested in learning either Mandarin or Cantonese, in terms of level of difficulty, you can pick Mandarin. And of course, I think I'm quite sure that in terms of resources, online resources, there are more Mandarin language course, language classes you can sign up for. So I think for basic level, for elementary level, so let's say greetings, let's say when you come to Hong Kong, so there are some basic greetings phrases you can learn either in Mandarin or Cantonese. It will be fine. Because to be honest, all right, this is something you should know. In Hong Kong, most of us, even our mother tongue is in Cantonese, but we are actually educated in Mandarin also in our high school system, in our primary school system when we are, being educated. So even if you speak Mandarin to a local in Hong Kong, we understand you also. All right, as long as you speak it, properly or in a great and comfortable way, we will respond to you also. So. Well, I can see a lot of different language-related questions, but does the term Chinese typically refer to Cantonese and Putonghua refers to Mandarin? I think, well, the term Chinese actually applies to all different kinds of dialects in China, I think. But Putonghua, Putonghua actually refers to Mandarin. So I think enough for these kinds of language-related questions. But let's move on to more other kinds of preparation that you can prepare for. So I will go back to questions later on in our Q&A session. So other than the language requirement, actually, in terms of the workplace culture, I've put on two different dimensions. The first one is about power distance. So that means if we are in a high power distance, that means, to be honest, we sometimes have a kind of like hierarchy. All right, hierarchy in the workplace. That means we are not totally flat. So maybe the decision, the power should allow the supervisor or the management to have a slightly more power than in individual employees. Comparing to other, maybe some of you are from the UK or France, so maybe there are a little bit of difference in terms of the power distance about the decision-making process. And at the same time, Hong Kong, we are actually low on uncertainty avoidance. What does it mean? That means we need clarity. All right, we need facts. Okay, and at the same time, we are more pragmatic and practical. So it actually implies that we are more result driven. Okay, so it kind of counteracts to some facts that maybe you would think that we are more relational based, but yeah, we're going to tell you more about the balance between relationships and the certainties and also the pragmatic style of work. But this is something that you can understand first. So let's move on to the next one. I think it's a quick comparison. I'm not going to go through one by one, but it's like you can go through this within your own mind. This is something that I, kind of, when I work with different expatriates or different international professionals in Hong Kong, this is what I observe. What kind of people would tend to thrive in the Hong Kong workplace environment, and what kind of people tend to struggle. The word tend to struggle means you can still, adapt to it, but it takes time. So these can be changed also. So do not get, disappointed, okay? So you can still change it by understanding more, okay? So this is something that you can, do a screen cap, take a photo of this comparison table, but if you are leaning towards the left-hand side on the screen, you will probably have a better time in terms of adaptation. But eventually, I am sure that if you have enough preparation, understanding, everyone can thrive and succeed in the Hong Kong workplace. Because what I said here is adaptation all begins with whether you have your honest self-awareness. So to answer this question is actually, can I adapt my style without losing my values? What I'm going to say here today is I'm not asking you to, forget about where you're from or abandon your own experiences or your own cultural values, but it's like how to integrate it. Because at the end of today's session, I will let you know how to integrate integrate your international or intercultural, cross-cultural background in order to leverage it to become your strength, okay, in working in Hong Kong. So let's move on to the next part, which is, in terms of practicality, right? Because we are more pragmatic in terms of working culture. This is how I deliver the workshop also. I'm actually telling you the facts or even how does it work in Hong Kong workplace culture. So I'm going to lay you out 3 facts. So these are the facts that I observed the past 10 years working in different companies, working with different clients in Hong Kong. So the first one, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, to be honest. It is about the workplace culture, okay? Workplace culture. That means the working hours. So because it is something that you can find online also, to be honest, there are some different ranked tables telling you that, Hong Kong working hours could be longer, okay? Longer than our European friends or even Americans. So I think in terms of working hours, we work quite a lot, but don't get stressed yet, but some of the companies, especially some larger multinational companies in Hong Kong, we do got quite a lot of multinational companies or their headquarters or regional offices in Hong Kong. So they do offer flexible work arrangements, including, we can working from home, remote working, or flexible work time, or, so of course, I'm not going to lie, it's varies across industries. So in some certain industries, for example, education, it's rather difficult to have such kind of flexibility in Hong Kong educational workplace culture. But, another thing is relevant to the workplace reality is about the social bonding. It usually happens after work. So in the UK, it's like we got happy hour drinking after work. But similarly, we got some social bonding in after the workplace also. So what makes you, what's the implication or what's the message for you here? It's about how you can balance, right? As long as you got enough support, as long as you got enough, self-autonomy and your recovery. So I think you can counteract some kinds of, the demands, the workplace demands in the Hong Kong workplace here. So the second one is about relationships, all right? So these 2 words, actually someone asked me about, in the chat room, the difference between Mandarin and Cantonese. So this is not actually the direct comparison, but it's actually the comparison between traditional Chinese and simplified Chinese. So it's about how we write the characters. All right. Again, I'm not having a lecture in linguistics or languages, but you can see these are actually the same word called guanxi. Guanxi actually in direct translation is like the relationships, how we build the relationships in Asian culture, or even in Chinese or in Hong Kong culture. So it's not about gifting itself. Okay, it's about how we perceive a relationship. So I use the word reciprocal. Reciprocal is like I give you something, you give me something back. You return the favor. This is how we use English to talk about this. But what makes it even more unique is how we build the trust through this guanxi concept. Okay, so this concept is actually based on some repeated low-stake interactions. So for example, it's not about I sent you a great gift and then you send me another better gift. It's not about gifting again. It's about maybe I help you do something, you help me do something in a more minor and low-stake way. So maybe I refer a job offer to you, and then maybe you help me to prepare, you teach me some language, you help me to prepare an interview. So it's like a very low stake return favor way. So what does it mean to you? Again, it means that if you want to show your professionalism, or if you want to build a relationship before you come to Hong Kong, maybe this is something that you can bear in mind first. Build your presence, by having this kind of consistent, building relationships mindsets. Okay, because the more resources you get, we got a social capital. The more social resources you get, the better for you to adapt to a new culture, a new workplace. So about building relationships. The third one, the last one I'm going to surprise you with, the realities in workplace in Hong Kong, is about result driven. Here's some fun facts. Okay, people, whenever you ask a person in Hong Kong, if they're from Hong Kong, you may observe that they walk so fast. The pace of walking, even the pace of speaking. And so on the left, you can see, oh, we walk quite fast. And the right-hand side is about even from our day-to-day transportation, it's really, really efficient. If you have heard the news, or if you want to learn more about this, you can go to YouTube, you go to news. I'm not selling, how good the public transport system are, but you can see from different parts of our daily life, efficiency and results-driven mindset is very important, not only to the workplace, but also to our daily life. So what does it mean to you? In the workplace, you can expect this. Meetings could be short and purposeful. All right. So we don't do very, very long meetings, but we do sharp and result-driven or outcome-driven workplace culture or in the meetings. And that means deliverables and results actually speaks more than only talking. But I think it's universal to different workplaces or a culture anyway. But to emphasize this, we call it performance oriented. So in case you wonder, you are still having fear or you still have struggles on, the language requirement, we actually focus more on the skill sets that you brought with you. Okay, the skill sets and also the knowledge, and most importantly, whether you can deliver the results or the outcomes with your skill sets. Language is like at a lower level, and language requirement as lower priority. Okay, so last but not least, I'm going to share with you some soft skills toolkits. All right, what does it mean? Toolkit means that you can have it before you come. So, but other than some kinds of logistically preparation, this is actually what I call anticipatory socialization. What does it mean? It means that psychological preparation. Okay, this kind of toolkit, like including doing your homework, doing the research on on your specific industry, and prepare yourself for some basic language greetings, and most importantly, if you are committed to come to Hong Kong already, maybe you can build a system, a support system, a relationship that are relevant to the concept that I just mentioned, the guanxi. All right, if you send a LinkedIn message to me or even some friends or some new professionals in Hong Kong on LinkedIn, you may get some surprise in how we help each other. And when you come to Hong Kong, we may have a meetup. So this is something that you can prepare in order to come to Hong Kong. So last but not least, this is a very important curve for me to share with you, because maybe some of you, after hearing or listening from me like for 20-25 minutes, you can still having some kind of fear. All right, but all I'm saying to you is this kind of cultural shock or this kind of fear is normal, right? As you can see from this, right? Oh, everyone get excited moving to a new country, new system, right? But at the same time, once you go to a new place, you will got cultural shock, and it always takes time for each person to adjust or to adapt to the new culture. So what I'm saying is, if right now you are joining this webinar or even join this whole 2-day event, you are actually helping yourself to get prepared for this adjustment or adaptation in an earlier stage. So to shorten the period of your cultural shock. So the more information you get from the professionals or from someone in Hong Kong, the more you can get the easier for you to get adapted to the Hong Kong workplace. So to conclude, what we've mentioned today is about your difference is actually what we value the most, including your cross-cultural literacy, your multilingual, because some of you, I know some speaking French, Dutch, or even German, whatever. So language, of course, is some kind of hard skills, but what we matter the most is about whether your commitment to learn a new language, learn a new skill set, or even to learn and lead with your curiosity. So this is something that I want to share with you today. I hope you can, have a basic understanding of the culture and how you prepare the psychologically in this Hong Kong workplace. All right. So I hope every one of you today, have a better understanding, and I wish, all right, Hong Kong will be your next new chapter in your career. Because I want to leave some more time to the Q&A. So if you have questions, just feel free to type it in, but I know we got limited time. So how about I got one question on my, the host just sent me one question. It's about the language requirement. Again, so the language requirement, I think, is there any school teaching in English in Hong Kong? And even because you are worrying about, you're concerned also about your families and children, especially, right? The children that doesn't understand any Cantonese, so about the school teaching, I can assure you that there are lots of different schools. We got this international schools in Hong Kong. They are teaching not only English. We got, as far I know, we got German Swiss International School in Hong Kong. They could teach in German, and we got Singaporean International School in Hong Kong. So I think English is a very popular language in the school educational system in Hong Kong. So no worries about this. And another question, because I got a lot of questions, we're going to go faster. Sorry about the pace. The second one is about the biggest unspoken expectation in Hong Kong workplace culture that international professionals often misunderstand, and how can we proactively adopt to it early on. So the unspoken expectations, I think it's relevant to what I just mentioned in the relationship. Because to be honest, people think that we are very alike the total mainland Chinese or the Chinese mainlander culture, but it's actually we're having a unique cultural system in Hong Kong. That's why I use the word hybrid, the East meets West. So I think you don't have to really treat us as a totally, fully Chinese culture. So in terms of the unspoken expectations, you just talking to international friends in your home country, and then you come here to adapt yourself. So you don't have to put a high expectations that, oh, we are very Asian, in terms of Asian culture, in terms of Chinese culture, but just treat it as a in the medium stage first, and then you come here, and then by experience, you will learn more about how you can adapt in an experiential way. All right, so no worries about the cultural adaptations. So someone asked me about the research. Okay, so what else? I think I can answer one last question. I think that's all, right? I think we got last question. In high performance environments like Hong Kong, how is initiative typically perceived, especially for newcomers? And how can international talent demonstrate proactiveness without overstepping cultural boundaries? Oh, very interesting question. My quick response to it is proactive is really important. So it's good you bring up this concept, but without overstepping cultural boundaries. All I'm going to say is because we are result driven. All right, as long as you are bringing this, the both individual contribution, and also you are also considering the team goals. This is a really important lesson, actually. Without stepping cultural boundaries, that means you are trying to balancing your individual contributions and also the team goals. While you are performing your individual performance, you are also considering how your individual performance are contributing to the team as a whole. So this is actually what I define the high performance workplace environment in Hong Kong. All right. So I think most of you have a lot of different questions. So I think you can just feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. Feel free to scan my QR code or just search my name, Erwin Chan, in Hong Kong. I know time is short because we have another interesting webinar or sessions prepared for you. So I'm glad to be the first webinar of today's event. So if you are interested to learn more, if you want to get in touch, you want to stay, feel free to keep this professional relationship going on. And if not, I wish you all the best, and I hope you can, find your next chapter of life. All right. So I will see you later, and all the best. All right. Have a good day and good night. All right. Thank you. Thank you.